Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. We're going to do the August forecast for today's first video. So this is GavsWeatherVids official forecast for August 2020. I'll have a review on July's forecast to start off with, and then we will have a sneak peek at September for the end of the video. We're going to be looking at CFS V2 and CANSIPS for this forecast. We would normally include the Beijing Climate Centre for our month-end forecast, but those charts have been inaccessible for around a couple of weeks now at Beijing Climate Centre. So what's going on, I don't know, but we can't bring you any data from the Beijing Climate Centre at this stage. So we'll just show you CFS V2 and CANSIPS, and then I'll give you GavsWeatherVids forecast. Just say coming up later on today, we've got our 10 to 14 day video update, including all regular features, and we've also got an update from America coming up tonight. Quite a busy day at GavsWeatherVids. Right then, so let's start off with what happened in July. So the GavsWeatherVids July forecast was for a warmer than average month by around 1 degree, and perhaps a little bit on the dry side. Average is slightly drier than average. We predicted that month would start off quite cool and unsettled, and then would transition into something a lot warmer and drier as we went along. So we'd have like a cool first half being offset by a warm second half. We've come out a little bit above average. Well, the forecast went right. It was based on the GavsWeatherVids summer forecast. That's what we anticipated for the GavsWeatherVids summer forecast for July. The forecast went wrong, so we actually came out with our first cooler than average month of the year. This is the temperature anomaly from the UK Met Office for July 2020, set against the 81 to 2010 average, and you can see it quite widely across the country. Most places came out with below average temperatures. Far southeast of the country was nearer to normal, around average there, but most other areas came out below average, anything from around half a degree to around 1.5 degrees below average. So it was quite a significantly below average month, particularly for more northern and western parts of the country. As far as precipitation is concerned, it was also a rather wet and average month across central and northern areas. Some southern areas did come out a little bit drier than average. So southern England, parts of Wales into the Midlands was a little bit drier there. The far east of East Anglia too was a little bit drier than average. But further north and west, it was a wetter than average month. This tells us it was quite an Atlantic-driven month. We had a lot of westerly winds, and that brings the wettest weather, particularly in summer, to northwestern parts of the country. And the southeast closer to the Azores high. It was drier down there. Interesting that it was like the coolest July since 2012, and yet at the end of it we still managed to pull off our third hottest day on record. So that's quite remarkable how that came out. Just goes to show you that within a cool month you can get like a one-off spell of very hot weather. We did anticipate that there would be hot weather towards the end of the month, so we thought the hottest part of the month would be late on, and so I suppose that did occur, but the rest of the month was quite cool and was quite cool. So the GavsWeatherVids July forecast was wrong. It was a miss, definitely not a hit for the July forecast. Shall we have a look at sunshine averages? Let's quickly do that. See how much sunshine we have this month. So it's also a rather dullish sort of month as well, with most places having below average sunshine. So it really wasn't a terribly inspiring July at all. Cooler average temperatures, less sunshine than you'd expect, duller than average, and certainly for northern and western areas, a wetter than average month too. So all round, not a particularly good July, but of course it did then finish up with that very, very intense hot final day, where we had our third hottest day on record. So there we go. That's how July came out. The GavsWeatherVids July forecast was not particularly successful. Let's try for better in August. So this is CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly for August. Overall, it's looking quite unsettled, this, with below average height centred over and just to the west of the country, and you will think we're still bringing in like a westerly flow from off the Atlantic. So it is looking rather unsettled in terms of CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly for August. The precipitation anomaly, temperature anomaly I should say, is very close to average, to for western areas, perhaps ending up being a little bit cooler than average across Ireland and far western parts of the country, but it's not a particularly big deviation. Overall, near normal. It is a warmer than average August being forecast here across much of France, Germany, Low Countries, down to Spain and Portugal, so the warmth is not all that far away, but we are actually having sort of average type temperatures there for August. And the precipitation anomaly for August is looking like this. Again, quite weak signals. It's wetter than average for Ireland. And again, you would have thought with a trough of low pressure centered around here, and here, we will probably be bringing in westerlies, and it will probably be quite an unsettled month actually. So you would have thought that it's likely to be above average with rainfall if the 700 millibar height anomaly comes off that we see there with low pressure centered just west of Ireland. So again, rather coolish and unsettled signals here from CFS V2 for August. CANSIPS is also looking quite unsettled as well. So this is a mean sea level pressure anomaly for CANSIPS with low pressure, this is from TropicalTidbits.com by the way, with low pressure centred just to the west of the country in the Atlantic, bringing the westerlies. So yeah, it looks like a very, very unsettled month overall for August with CANSIPS and the CFS V2 as well. The temperature anomaly from CANSIPS is slightly warmer than average, going for above average temperature. Really warm month actually being forecast there through many parts of Europe. We're not as warm as that, but we are slightly above average with the temperature anomaly, but also looking quite unsettled, especially so to our west, where a wetter than average month is being forecast. Probably quite a bit of high pressure across many parts of Europe, because it's a little bit drier than average through that. We're just on the periphery of that, but basically we're being dominated by the low pressure from off the Atlantic, bringing in those westerly winds. So again, we haven't got the Beijing Climate Centre for this, so we can't see what that's showing. But between CANSIPS and CFS, it looks like these models are forecasting a relatively unsettled August, with low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, bringing spells of rain. And I mean, temperatures are probably going to be a little bit on the lowly side as well with this. The question is, do we go with these models or do we go with our own ideas? Because I think that these are going over top with the unsettled signal. I dare say there will be unsettled weather at times through this August, but certainly like the second week of this month, within the short range model output, is looking really quite warm and relatively anticyclonic as well, probably. So I would go with something a lot warmer than these models are suggesting for August, and not as unsettled as well. So I can't really go along with the two models for this. I've got to come up with my own sort of ideas. I think this August is going to be an appreciably warmer than average month. We predicted it within the GavsWeatherVids summer forecast. It may not get quite as hot as we predicted in the GavsWeatherVids summer forecast, but I think it's going to be a pretty warm month, especially the first half of it. May get offset by like a cooler, more unsettling to do later on in the month, sort of towards the last week or so. But I think overall it's going to be a warmer than average August. There is a possibility this could be the warmest August since 2003 or 2004. So I think it's going to be an appreciably above average August in terms of the temperature anomaly. Hot weather at times, especially so probably in the first half of the month. And there is a chance that we could have a very, very hot spell. I think it's relatively low risk, but there is a chance that we might sort of be talking about another heat spike, such as we had at the end of July, at some point through this month. So watch out for that. I think, but I think more generally, this is just going to be a consistently warm month, really. So we probably don't get to that very extreme level of heat that we had on the last day of July. But overall, the month as a whole should be a lot warmer than July, due to the fact that the warmth will be probably quite evenly spread throughout much of the month. So a warmer than average month, probably by around 1 to 2 degrees above average, potentially a very warm month, and there is a chance of a really hot spell at some point in there as well. Precipitation-wise, I will think probably quite close to average. I think these warm conditions will spark off thunderstorms, so a lot of hit and miss rainfall. You know, some areas could come away with quite a wet month, actually, if they get several storms over several days. But other areas just down the road might have quite a dry month, might have a drier than average month. So a lot of variation, a lot of regional variation. I will think later on in the month there is a chance of more general deterioration, something perhaps a little bit autumnal in the final week. Perhaps it might go a lot cooler and Atlantic driven and so on during then. But I think overall a significantly warm month, and there is a chance that this could be our warmest August since 2003 or 2004. We should have to wait and see about that. And yeah, so that's the best I can do for it. I think these models have gone a little bit over the top with the unsettled signal. They're trying to carry that on from July, but I think this will be a very different month to July. So we shall see. Anyway, we'll see how it all pans out. The last thing to show you is CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly for September. Not a huge amount to go on, really, for September at the moment. There's some higher pressure just down there, and over here there's also a ridge up towards the north of Scandinavia. Otherwise, not much else to go, and I suspect there, within these ridges, there's probably a dip in the jet stream going on through here, and it could just be a rather unsettled-ish sort of month, rather changeable month. But again, it's a very weak signal there for September, so I think we leave September alone for the time being. We've got enough to go on with August. So in the final analysis, GavsWeatherVids August forecast is for a significantly warmer than average month by around 1 to 2 degrees above average. It could be our warmest August for 16 or 17 years, and just generally quite evenly spread, very warm conditions. There is the chance we might get a heat spike at some point, most likely if it happens through the second week of the month, but just generally a very warm August, and with a lot of regional variation, so probably averaging out quite close to average with rainfall, but some areas will get a very wet month potentially with a lot of thunderstorms. Other areas are likely to get a very dry month if they miss out on the storms. Late on, there might be a deterioration to something generally cooler and wetter, and more sort of Atlantic-driven and perhaps slightly autumnal in the final week or so of the month. Right, that's it. So we'll review, as always, at the start of next month when we do the September forecast. We'll review how this August forecast has gone. We're going to be back later on with your 10 to 14-day video update, so come back for that then. And then we've got a USA update on YouTube coming up tonight. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.